how we're differentiating the learning for these students more consistently and more pervasively than we're currently doing. And I'm not faulting anyone that it's not happening. It's just, you can't just say do it. You have to teach it, you have to support it. And so these teachers spent an entire day today learning the role more of the coach. And Tanya's worked with them on writing, helping them writing, and they're spending the time this summer writing units and compacting units. And the other thing we've talked about is that how they'll service kids. We can't expect them to be a content expert, bless you. K-5, all the curriculum. So we've said it might be a better model that some of you take 4th and 5th grade students in some buildings, and some of you take K through 3 in some buildings, so that you're minimizing the amount of content that you need to become an expert on, and then servicing those students and teachers in some buildings. Understanding that we have a higher level of kids identified in 4th and 5th grade. K through 3 is really when we are finding those kids. So the other thing we've talked about with K through 3 is those teachers would actually go in and model a lesson on how to look for what we call the cornerstones of a gifted child. Certain things that they, challenging thinking and seeing these kids who sort of rise to the top to help them understand that's the kid you're looking for. Because we're not looking for your high achieving necessarily. You know, they're just good students and get their work done and do it well, but you're actually your gifted thinkers. And so helping teachers with that so that we are better identifying children who should be benefiting from this instruction. So those are the things that we've looked at. We've talked to principals about supporting with scheduling, and the reason we're asking for students who are identified to be clustered together is the reality is these teachers, we still have a very limited population of the ratio of teachers of gifted support to classrooms. So if I'm going in there and there's, for example, Paxtonia, potentially 5 teachers in the grade level, I don't have to go to all 5, I can go to 1. Now, we are saying to the support teachers, if you develop a really interesting compacted unit in 4th grade, you should share it with all 4th grade teachers. But the intent of developing this was the needs of our identified population. But it's not to say others won't have the ability to benefit from that as well. And the other thing we just constantly want to work on is communicating with parents, which is why we invited you here this evening. We're doing this little podcast, posting it, and we'll offer to meet again in the fall and throughout the year. And I know Tanya had mentioned when we were walking in tonight that she has a website at the IU that has resources for parents as well, to include some wonderful summer opportunities. Some locally, some a little further away if your child's adventurous, that she would like to offer you as well. And you know, I see as their role as a coach the opportunity for them to be able to find more of these resources, because there's some wonderful programs out there, Odyssey of the Mind, and different things that really challenge gifted thinkers that we really haven't done much with. And I know I had those experiences when in the Virginia public schools, and they were fabulous, fabulous for our creative and gifted thinkers. So generally, it's not a monumental change to the process. The differences being that we're really attempting to meet the needs of your children who are identified as gifted more of the time. In that tier 1, helping teachers learn how to, and helping them differentiate, compact curriculum, independent projects, studies, through the use of technology, coached by their gifted support teacher, but really just emphasizing how we can meet their needs more of the time, as opposed to a pull-out model where it's once every 6 cycle days for an hour and a half, and there's really currently no connection between the content, the curriculum that they've been working on and gifted, and what they're doing in the general education classroom, where we really can take this general standards and stretch those. And we just haven't looked at it that way. So I'll entertain questions, or before I do that, Tanya, is there any major points that I neglected to emphasize? Or any of you?
The only thing that I would add to that is that what we're building here is a system that's aligned to the standards, which if you look at the programming standards of NAGC, the National Association for Gifted Children, that's the #1 component for curriculum, that it's aligned to local, state, and national standards. And I'm not sure how much you've heard about the Common Core, but in 2013, we are legislated to adopt the Common Core. So you look at the state standards as they are right now, PA standards, and then the Common Core, which are essentially national standards. And any educator you may talk to is going to say that the Common Core has really ratcheted up the rigor and the expectations for students. And so as we're building this system and we're talking about supporting teachers, what we're going to be very cognizant of is looking to those Common Core standards and asking ourselves, how are we bringing them into the realm of the education that gifted students are receiving? So when we talk about differentiating in the core, they're going to have the benefit, I think, first of some of that, because that it's not legislated for another 2 years, but we're really making ourselves aware of it now, and we're starting to work with it now. And I can give the website real quick. I apologize, it's not up on the screen, but it's very easy. It's www.pde, as in Pennsylvania Department of Ed, pdesas.org. But then at the end it's /TMORRET. So it's www.pdesas.org/TMORRET. And we'll make sure that the gifted support teachers all have that, and if we have it in writing somewhere, we can do that. But if you go to that website, there is a tab, Summer Opportunities for the Gifted, and there you will find probably about 30 different summer opportunities, some local, some across the state, of day camps, overnight camps for gifted students, as well as links to NAGC, the National Association for Gifted Children, to PAGE, which is the Pennsylvania Association for Gifted Education, and the Common Core. So those links are all there if you want to kind of start to educate yourself about those items.
Okay, questions, and I am going to repeat questions so that they're recorded. Yes? Okay, the question is, are we abandoning pull out to move toward this service delivery model, a framework for delivering instruction to students? As you saw when we had Tier 2, that could still be, often it's a small cluster group of students. The difference would, what I would suggest to you is it's not, we can't ask one gifted support teacher to provide that explicit instruction to those students every cycle day. They're just not in a building every cycle day. So who provides the instruction could be somebody other than the gifted support teacher, but the gifted support teacher could be the one who's designed that instruction for that teacher who's going to be delivering that. So, because currently they never can commit to anything more. Typically, some of them, there's great disparity, we've discovered when looking at schedules, some of the data, because some have more schools they've serviced and greater disparity with the number of students and grade levels, and others have been to 2 buildings, and so they're there more cycle days. It really is imbalanced currently, which is why when we looked at a variety of different ways to divide their time, the most equitable seem to be students by grade level, which also allows them more time to be an expert at that content by grade levels. 2 grade levels of standards and content is easier to master and provide opportunities and experiences to students and teachers. But they still would be pulling them out and consulting with those students and working with them and coaching them through projects and things like that. But we've never been able to do more than once. The minimum a child gets is once a cycle for an hour and a half. And that's just it. Yeah, and so if for some reason they're not in the building that day and the services are provided, you could go 12 days, which is why the current framework delivery model really isn't very effective when you're looking at meeting the needs of your child all the time. Yes? No, that's fine. Mm-hmm. Okay, and
Do you want me to do this? Okay.
repeat the question.
Oh, okay. Her question was, with this new service delivery model that we're overviewing, will this augment currently what he is receiving? Will it take the place of what he is receiving as far as pull-out services? And I'm going to answer your question. If I don't, please make sure, just call me on it. But I want to start by making a very important distinction, and that is that what we're here today to talk about are gifted services that are appropriate for each of your children. We are not here to talk about a gifted program. And we're trying to move away from this idea of a program, because in Chapter 16, what they legislate we need to provide are services that are appropriate to the needs of your gifted child. So to say that your son may or may not receive pullout, I really don't know, because it's going to be based on his present levels and his needs within the what is called for in the GIEP. So for any of us to guarantee that that's what's going to happen is really taking the decision-making process out of the team. And the team would be you and the principal and the gifted support teacher, and the classroom teacher. So if that is something that is deemed appropriate and your child needs, then it will be for the team to decide, and then also how that will come about. But in terms of a program, a pull-out program, one of the things I've had an opportunity to spend a lot of time with the department, the director of gifted education at the state. And one of the very first things that she looks at when she goes into a school district is the GIEPs. And are they individualized? Because GIEP stands for Gifted Individualized Educational Plan. And it is that plan that we're putting into action for your son or for your daughter, and it's based on their needs. So to have a blanket statement that says there will not be pull-out is incorrect, but also is incorrect to say that there will be pull-out still there for everyone, because it is going to be based on your individual child's needs. Did I answer your question? Okay. If your child needs that as based on the GIEP team, then that would still be a service delivery option. I can't answer that without having seen all the present levels and have the benefit of the team here to discuss that. Up until this point, that's just been the way we've delivered service. And whether they needed it or not, it was part of how we met